All right, welcome back to the Make Time for Play podcast. I'm Neil Hooper,
And I'm David Castillo.
and we're excited to make some time for play today. Well, today we've got a special episode. Happy holidays to everybody. Happy New Year, by the way. David, Happy New Year.
Hey, you too. I hope you guys had a lot of fun with the games. It sounded like, based on what we were talking about before recording, you had
Oh my
some
gosh.
awesome experiences getting others involved.
It was so fun. It was really fun, by the way, getting together with you and playing some games. So I was up in northern Utah, and David and I found some time. We made some time to play,
There we
and it was
go.
kind of last minute. But living up to the name of our podcast, we made some time for play, and I'm glad we did because it was a good time. It's a great time of year. It's January 2026, and just really looking forward to the new year. Had a lot of fun over the holidays, playing lots of games, and yeah, just had a great Christmas and opened some board games, which was fun. That I had to be very patient with. For I should say, some of the PAX Unplugged haul, I was very disciplined and wrapped some of that. For my Christmas morning, so I was proud of me for waiting. But yeah, it was a good time. How about you?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we ended up going to Arizona to Great Wolf Lodge. We didn't want to go too far. We just wanted to, I don't know, get somewhere warmer, and ironically, this is like what they say the warmest December in 40 years in the Salt Lake area or something. So,
Right.
anyway, it was still, yeah, still a good time. And so initially not a lot of gaming because we were just kind of escaping and relaxing, but yeah.
And I've never been to the Great Wolf Lodge. And for anybody else listening that hasn't been, can you just briefly, super briefly summarize what makes it special? Because I hear a lot of people talk about it, like we went to the Great Wolf Lodge, but what is it in a nutshell?
Yeah, it's like if like a small theme park and a water park and a hotel had a baby. I don't know how you have three things having a baby, but yeah, I mean, it's meant to. I think it can be at its best just a place where you can kind of just like arrive and not have to leave for a little, for a day or two. I don't think you need more than 2 days there, but they've got a water park, indoor water park, and it's just like connected. And on your way to that water park, you're passing a ropes course, a little bowling alley,
Oh my
mirror
gosh.
maze, climbing wall, other things, mini golf, other things that the kids can do. So just kind of like the self-contained vacation. So yeah, I stand by. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone will need more than 2 days there at a time, but still, those 2 days are great.
Well, that sounds like a good time. And you were making time for play, even though it wasn't board games, but you were definitely hitting the water park and doing some other stuff, I'm sure. So that's
Yeah, it
awesome.
was a great time.
Um, what are some games you played over the holiday break here? I'll start with one. Well, I've got a few, but we went on kind of a Bite Wing Games marathon here. So those were a lot of the games that I was disciplined with because I went by the Bite Wing Games booth at PAX Unplugged, and we're huge Reiner Knizia fans in the Hooper household, and they've just been killing it with these releases with Reiner Knizia. And so the Iliad and Ichor games, which are the two-player kind of battle it out Reiner Knizia games, we played both of those, and I'm a huge fan of those ones. They're very good. I haven't played them enough to really solidify like a concrete opinion. I played Iliad twice and Ichor once, but really enjoyed those. And then Silos as well. Those were three Reiner Knizia games from Bitewing Games that were a lot of fun. More to come there. We're going to release some content on our Good Apple Games channel, but yeah, we were just feeling the two-player Reiner Knizia vibes. Silos is 2 to 4 players, but the other two, but they were great. So those were some games that I played. How about you guys?
Yeah. So, ironically, I know we talked about on our last episode what are some games that we take to social events or gatherings with non-gamer people, and we had I brought the ones that I mentioned in hand. Unfortunately, just wasn't bold enough to force everyone to play. However, this week we did get together with some friends that do play games, and we introduced them to Heat. So not one that I
Hmm.
would have normally named, but one reason I did love introducing that to them is because you can cater it to the audience. There are so many like modules. You got the championship system or upgrade system, advanced upgrade modules, um, weather, all that sorts. Yeah. Anyway, that sort of thing. You've got different maps if you have the expansions, so you really could just cater it to who you're playing with. Um, and it plays up to, if you have both expansions, in theory, 8 players. That might drag it out a little bit. I don't know that I would want to,
Hmm.
but we played 4 of us, and yeah, they loved it. It just took like 2 or 3 turns for it to really click, and it was a great time. Loved playing
That's
that with them.
awesome. Yeah, Heat's a classic. I want to play that one more. Funny side note, I bought Heat after we played it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, we got to get that one, and I bought it. And then when we were selling board games at our market here, I had it just on the table because it was still in the plastic or whatever. And then somebody came up and they're like, hey, I'd love to buy that one. I was like, okay, so I
No,
actually don't own it anymore, so I should probably
oh
buy
no,
another.
dude, no.
Uh,
Fix it, man.
oh, that's awesome. So you guys played Heat. I got to say, I too, from our last episode, we mentioned some ones. I mentioned Hot Streak, and we played Hot Streak with all of my wife's extended family. There were 31 people there, and how we did it is we
Oh,
broke we broke into teams by family, and we played it. And I was kind of nervous because like this is a ton of people. Not everyone here are gamers, but I just really I simplified it. So I got rid of the side bets and I just kept it like at the core mascot bets. And it was an absolute riot. It was so fun. Aubrey got some video, and everyone was like jumping out of their seat when they're racing. We were putting the cards down, and just I my favorite moment is when someone turns around or like trips over, like because you're not expecting that, and everyone's like no, pulling their hair out. Anyway, Hot Streak was a hit, so I'm really glad that we got to play that one.
great. Oh my gosh. I love when you told me about that. It makes me want to take another serious look at that game. Not that I'm alluding to anything negative about it, but yeah, you said your experience with me was the lowest energy. I don't know if we were just in a funk from just like grinding out so many plays on different games on that same day or what, but yeah, I want to
We got to play it
give it
again. We
another
got to
shot.
try it again. Yeah.
Right, right. That's awesome. And I got my first play of Fate of the Fellowship. When you brought that one up, I loved. It was a great excuse to have my 8-year-old son join just out of the blue as soon as he saw the Eye of Sauron on its tower. Just a little giggle. I wish I was recording in that moment. Just a little giggle that he gave. He's like, and he wanted in, and he loves cooperative games. And yeah, it was a great time just being able to be involved, just seeing him remember bits of the story and the movies and all of that. And yeah, I do like it more than Pandemic. I know it's built on that Pandemic system, and yeah. So if you're
Yeah.
familiar with Pandemic and you love Lord of the Rings, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, dude, that was so fun. I'm so glad we got to get together. And Tally Up was another one that we got to play together, and I played a lot. And
Right.
that's from Eric Olson, Messy Table Games. It's his company. Really cool. Obviously, Flip Seven's been a huge success. This is kind of another press your luck. It's a dice game, but and at first it wasn't quite landing with me. Tally Up. The more I've played it, it's been growing on me, and I think it's going to do well. There is a bit more of a learning curve there, just with the nuance of how the dice, how you roll the dice and pick the dice, and what each dice, how they're different. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun. And I got to say, there's a full review coming, but playing with poker chips or counter chips. That was another fun gift I got for Christmas, was a premium chip set so we can keep track of scores. But playing Tally Up with the chips like we did is the best way by far to play that game. So anyway, that noted.
Right. Maybe. I mean, I'm volunteering this while we're live. Design. I want to design something. Just design chips for tally up games and get Eric Olson's blessing to publish them for people with 3D
Yes.
printers.
Dude, I literally said that to Aubrey. I was like, I feel like they could make a deluxe version of this game with chips and like premium chunky dice, and like it could be a thing. But I have three different scores for that game based on how you are keeping score so, or ratings. If you're
Right.
keeping score on paper, it's dusty for us. If you're using their app, which is good, their app is good. The problem with that is only one person has the score in front of them the whole time. So you have to kind of, and you can announce the score as you're going, and that's fun too. But if you're doing that, then I think it's shelved. It's on the shelf. It's getting played. It's probably like a 3. But with the chips, it's really fun, and because everyone can see the score building up and the running total, and I think like that, I think it's sleeved for me. It's honestly,
There
it's
you
gotten a
go.
lot better as I've played it more. So anyway, but don't mean to dive too much into that when we're
Yeah.
doing a full review now, but Tally Up was very fun. Eric Olson has a knack for that pressure luck party game style, and it went direct to Walmart, which is awesome. So I hope that it does well, and I will say it's a ton of fun, and I really like it, especially with the chips to count the score.
Yeah, it
But
feels very Eric Olson, like Flip 7, but without being the same game.
yep, well said.
Now, did you
Well,
wanna dive into the main topic, or did you wanna talk about anything else that, anything else you played to make time for play?
oh my gosh, I know we played a ton of games. You better get into the main topic here. We're going to run out of time, but um, we did also play Well There Cowboy from Grandpa Beck games, and there will be more to come there. The last time we played it, we had a really good time. We played with 6 other people at New Year's on New Year's Eve, and once we got the hang of it, it was a ton of fun. I love the cards. The artwork feels kind of unique for a Grandpa Beck's game. It still feels Grandpa Beck, but the cowboy theme is really fun, and so there are lots of bluffs going on. We definitely recommend playing with the advanced rule set. You'll find that at the end of the rule book. That makes it way more engaging because it forces more bluffing, which is how you get points. So anyway, more to come there. But we did also play Grandpa Beck's, and it's fun to see Grandpa Beck still cranking out new games and putting themselves out there because they're one of the OGs in the party card game world. So anyway, that was a fun time
Right.
too. But
Yeah, and if you'll, forgive me for just plugging and reminding everyone why you and I got into this, just because I mean, we both have our families, and I guess I won't speak for you, but I know it's easy for me to get caught up in career and work all of the time. And so this has just been so great to be revisiting every other week with you, talking about how we made time for play, how we scheduled it in, and our favorite mechanism with our families just happens to be board games for this. So, just our call to anyone listening, please make that time. It is so worth it. And whatever it is that may be distracting you from it, and even if it's just a little bit more than what you did in the last week or so, just make that time, schedule it in, and you're just not going to regret it. That's what your kids, your families are going to remember.
that's a slow clap. Love it. Yeah, that's why we're doing this, man. And you'll look back years from now and be so grateful for all the time you made to play and to connect. So I love it. I have nothing to add, but all right, man. Well, let's get into our main topic, and it's an exciting one. So we're going to go through our top 5 games of 2025. These are games that were released in 2025. We definitely had to fact check a few of the games we were thinking about putting on the list to make sure we were talking about the right year. But we're just going to go. We're going to start from the number 5, and then go all the way up to 1. David and I are each going to share our top 5 games. So technically it's 10, but no one ever complained about more games. So here we go on. I'm happy to kick things off. First off, I just got to say, 2025 was an incredible year for board games and card games. There were just so many good games that came out, and it was really hard to get it down to 5. So just know there are so many other games that we loved and had great experiences with. But this is just kind of a fun format to talk about more games. So I'll kick it off with my number 5, which is one we've talked about a few times already, but it is Jungo from Happy Camper. when I think of a game that I want to pull out, it checks a lot of the boxes, and it's just easy to teach, super fun, and is just so tempting to play one more round. Jungo from Happy Camper is just a classic, and there's games that come and go. Some get really hyped, and you're like, okay, this was a fun game, and then they kind of cool off, and you're like, I don't know how much we're going to play that. Jungo's not one of those. Jungo, I know we're going to be playing that like crazy. And we're just so grateful for Happy Camper putting out these awesome games. So number 5 for me is Jungo.
Yes, I love Jungo, so I echo that. Despite it not being in my top 5 for today, my number 5 is Fountains by the Op Games. So I had to calibrate a little bit just because I don't know why, but my expectations were fairly low with it, and I was a little bit disappointed at the Op for not being at PAX Unplugged this year or Gen Con. But we found a copy in the Board Game Geek room at Gen
Mm-hmm.
Con, played it, and it blew away my expectations for it. So I feel bad for having anything low in terms of expectations, but very sound. It is right for that Azul type gamer.
Mm-hmm.
It is just that it feels so similar in weight and very pretty on the table. Also, I just love the components, how they're like this light, fluffy foam. So I hadn't
Yes.
seen that in a game of that style before. But yeah, so Fountains, my number 5 by the Op.
That was such a fun moment at Gen Con this year, is learning that. I specifically remember that game and getting everyone together, and it's a good one. I second everything you said. Um, Number 4, we're now to number 4. So my number 4 is a game from All Play that kind of, for me at least, came out of nowhere. It was not on my radar, and then at PAX Unplugged, this was, I think, the first game that sold out at their booth. Um, and that is Torchlit. I've got a full review on our Good Apple Games channel for Torchlit. It is a trick taking, dungeon crawling themed game that just from the theme to the quality of the components, to how smooth the turns are. It just, for me, again, trick taking is one of those mechanics that you either love it or you don't love it. And that's what at least I used to say. But now if somebody says, I'm not super into trick taking games, I always say, well, let's try Torchlit and see if you still think that, because it takes trick taking and I feel like really adds enough newness to breathe some new life into the mechanic. And I'm just a huge fan of Torchlit, and I've been playing that a lot as well. So Torchlit is my number 4.
Okay, so my number 4 is Waddle by All Play. Not to do 2 All Play in a row with us 2 here, but it is from their series of 1 minute to teach games. And you are trying to score points by either claiming the most valuable fish and I should say, creating the largest waddle or group of penguins together. It's very simple to play, and you've got a few choices. You teach it in a minute, and I'm just so blown away by how small the box is and yet how much of a game it is. And when I say how much of a game, I'm not talking about complexity or hard or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know. It just, don't judge it by the size of the box. It is a solid game that you can learn quickly.
Oh man, Waddle is so good, and I remember when you taught it to me at your house. Um, I kept thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, how is this much of a strategic experience in such a little box? So very good as well. Um, well, we're getting up the list here. My number 3 is Trinket Trove. Trinket Trove, I originally played at Gen Con. We played that one together with our group. And it took a minute to get the teach down. And it's interesting because Trinket Trove is it's really such a simple game. You just have cards, and but the cards are doing so much. And what I love about Trinket Trove, and what's kept me coming back to it again and again since we got it, is the cards, and the drafting, or rather the bidding, determines the turn order, the value of the sets, and the bidding order, and so much flows so smooth once you get the hang of it. And I really appreciate that, that complexity packaged up in a simple box. And it's a fun, it's a cute theme. And I will say I highly recommend getting the neoprene mat that you can get as an upgrade, because it helps you know where to place things, and it just keeps it a little more organized. Because without it, you just have to remember where everything goes. But once you get past that initial flow and setup, it just plays very well. It scales great on player count. I've played 2 players, I've played 6 players, and it really flows well. And I just find myself craving to play it again and looking for reasons to bust it out. So Trinket Trove is number 3 for me.
My number 3 is Tag Team by Scorpion Mask Games. And I feel so bad because when I first saw it, I don't know what it is. I was starting to feel a little bit burned out of 2-player like battle games. And when you taught that one to me, it just, oh, I felt so repentant because I have really enjoyed that one. Been playing it a lot on Board Game Arena. My kids have enjoyed playing it, and I just love trying to find the right combo or a strong combo of 2 characters, because each player plays with 2 characters, and just it's fun trying to find good synergies in in that play style. And then the programming element of it, where trying to remember what moves the other person did in what order, now where are they potentially changing things up, and trying to anticipate that while they're trying to anticipate you. So much awesome decision making ability. Yeah um I just, yeah, Tag Team, it's worth it. Even if you feel you're a little bit burned out of 2-player games, please give that one a try.
And I got to say, our lists, we did bring both of our lists together, and there was some overlap. This was one that was on my list as well, and you'll see on our top 10 list on the Good Apple Games channel that, like, we love Tag Team, and for all the same reasons, and the variability, right? If you got so many different fighters, and I think they're going to keep releasing more and more, which is really fun too. So anyway, Tag Team is great.
Oh man, I hope so.
All right. Well, we are down to number 2, and my number 2 is Hot Streak. I've talked about it already on the channel, but Hot Streak, I couldn't put it at least in the top 3, because it is just one of those games that for me it's just totally unique. I think you've got bidding racing games. Excuse me. Camel Up is awesome, and has been around for a while. And I feel like Hot Streak is kind of like an evolution in it's such a fun, quirky theme, right? With mascots, you're basically these degenerate gamblers bidding on mascots running in a race. And they're tripping over each other, running backwards, and the energy it creates. And like we mentioned at the beginning, we played this with a group of 31 people, and it was a core memory. If you've seen Inside Out, it's like you could see it in everybody's faces. Like, Hot Streak New Year's Eve Island was like created that night, and it was everybody just jumping up, and it's just such a fun, quirky game, and I just love it, and I love introducing people to it. So, Hot Streak is my number 2.
All right, so my number 2 is Llama Llama by All Play. Anyone who knows me and has been following me on David Castillo Plays knows that I love llamas, and that is not the only reason it is in my top 2. But it is this. Oh shoot, I forget the name. We'll put it hopefully just in text on the screen here. But the designer's name, same person who designed Trio, which is a game that I love, and
Wanted Wombats.
Oh, and Wanted Wombats. That's right. In Llama Llama, goal of the game is to get the highest score. But I just love the way that it goes about it. Just how it balances kind of the whole push your luck. I love that it forces you to pass so many cards initially, so you're not necessarily 100% set on what your strategy should be. And yeah, I love a game where when you're teaching it to somebody, and if they show you the hand, they're like, "What should I do?" And I love it when the answer is, "I don't know," because yeah, I mean that just shows there's so many different strategies you could try to take, or different ways that you could try to win.
Llama Llama, so great. And thank you for teaching me how to play that one. That was a great moment at PAX Unplugged as well. The
Oh, sorry.
number 1 game of 2025 that came out in 2025 My number one is Fate of the Fellowship. And these lists are always so subjective, right? How did we arrive at these top five? I don't think I have like a concrete, detailed system on how I arrive at these top five. But for me, the Fate of the Fellowship, it just very rarely do I feel as transported during a gaming experience as I have with the Fate of the Fellowship. And one of the most epic, memorable gaming moments that I've had in years was when I played this for the first time with my wife. And we're both big Lord of the Rings fans, so that helps, of course. But um, we were just in there. It felt like we were in Middle Earth, and we were just trying our best to fight the shadow troops, the orcs. And then when we got to Mount Doom and won the game, and it was like by the skin of our teeth, and it was like one card like saved us from the search roll, and it was just such a powerful and memorable moment. And I can't remember the last time I had one of those playing a board game. And aside from that experience, and I've had similar experiences in subsequent plays of the game, but the quality of the components, the artwork, the table presence. We mentioned the dice tower, which is, the Eye of Sauron, and it's just you've got all these little meeples all over the board, and it's just so fun. And I think kind of mentioned for me, the pandemic system was starting to feel a little, a little rusty, and it really brings some new breathes some new life into the pandemic system with the double-sided or the backs of the shadow cards
Yes.
doing two different things. So, maybe you're putting the same cards back onto the deck from the shadow deck, but depending on what, how they got shuffled, the card you flip over might be different because there's two parts of the card. I think that's unique. I think having two characters instead of just one is unique. They just did a lot to kind of reinvent the system a little bit, and I really appreciated that. So, Fate of the Fellowship, number one game of the year for me, 2025.
Thematically, that one is so strong. I,
No.
I, yeah, I feel what you're saying about having been transported in that one. That was probably my favorite part of it. So yes, thank you for showing that one, and thanks for letting my son play with us.
Oh,
I love
it
seeing
was
him be
great.
transported too into it. It's so. Um, all right, my number one is Toy Battle by
Mhm.
Repos Publishing, and so I don't necessarily call this my number one for any particular reason, because I think so much of what um, drives what game I want to play. It just happens to be the moment, who I'm with, that sort of thing. But I had to give it my number one spot because out of all the games that have been new this year, I by far have played this one the most. And I do have some core memories, as simple as they were. You and I going to a concert, leaving my youngest with a babysitter, and checking up on him while we're driving and seeing him trying to teach, he's a 5-year-old, trying to teach the babysitter how to play this game. And just like
Awesome.
dying at this. Oh, and then just moments of playing the board game arena version online with my 8-year-old thinking like, shoot, I'm hosed. I don't like, we're done for. But just my 8-year-old has such an incredible memory. He's like, no, you can make that move. Go here because they have already used their three Roxy's, which is the T-Rex. Like they've already used it, so they can't stop that. And just I'm like, oh, you remember that they played three of those already? Anyway, just memories like that. It's so good. Love that game. And another one that revived two-player games for me.
There were a lot of those in 2025, and
Yes.
not all of them were noteworthy. But Toy Battle, that was another one that I had on my list, and I took it off. But such a good one, and again, such an easy teach, and always different. You feel that tension right away from the very first move. You're like, oh my gosh, so good. Oh, David, so many good games. It's kind of fun to revisit all of the gaming from the year and just kind of create these lists together. But There's our top 5 games of the year of 2025. It was an amazing year for board games, and 2026 is looking really good too. So we're very excited to bring you all the coverage and keep making time for play. So again, we'd love for you to follow, like, and subscribe. Leave a comment, leave a review. We'd love to read those on air. And David, thanks for making time to play.
Hey, you too. Happy New Year. Thanks for doing this with me. And once again, to everybody else, make time for play. It's easier said than done. And just because we have a podcast called Make Time for Play doesn't mean it's easy any easier for us. So,
true.
It's been a good reminder to myself.
That is awesome. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll catch you on the next episode.
We'll see you.